So we're here with Kwasi, real general, real top man in I think. And we are say the lion's voice, it. Simple like that. You want to get the knowledge, YouTube, it.
I see. Introduce yourself still.
I guess my name still, you know. Everybody know me, I'm not officer nothing. I guess my name, I start.
That's right, family. We're talking about the reduction part of the ecosystem, the part that sometimes is uncomfortable because you don't want to share when you go to the bathroom. You know, you don't invite someone to the toilet with you, but if you don't go to the toilet, you're in problems, right? Because you have to always be eliminating waste within any system. And reduction also means just reducing time so that that waste could be in time, doing things more efficiently, more quickly. So we're going to look at a couple of legal considerations and just overall the concept of reduction again.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice. Well, I am the generation of those that chose to see the face of the great I am. With the Emperor Haile Selassie and King Rastafari of Ethiopia, well, he's the almighty creator, in flesh and in bone, and he's seated upon King David's throne. Well, I came to tell the nation on the microphone.
Yo, let them know righteousness is here to conquer. The bigger king trampling down those evilest monsters. Mussolini, he's getting burnt up like ganja. Our nation needs to get stronger. Give thanks, our locks is getting longer. The angel revealed the scriptures, the number 6, verse 5. My antenna channeling the heights of the Most High. Crown king of king, lord of lords. Now you do the math, Rastafari comfort. I and I with the staff, children of Israel. Make sure you step on the right path. It's the 21st century. The wicked about to feel the wrath of the ancient of days. Emperor Haile Selassie, pure in all his ways. That's why I am Kwasi and I praise and I am Bingy King. Let the children know the salvation I am Bingy bring. Yo, it's conscious hip hop music strictly for the king. For those who don't know, it's an I am Bingy thing. Hailing the Aya.
Bingy King, Aya. Bingy King, Aya. Bingy King, set the lightning. Aya. Bingy King, Aya. Bingy King, Aya. Bingy King, with the scepter lightning. Fire. Bingy King, fire. Bingy King, fire. Bingy King, earthquake lightning. Naya. Bingy King, Naya. Bingy King, Naya.
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of his chosen queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Dejazmatch Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man. I'm a creative industry attorney, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, I'm an author, and right now I am the host of the Lion's Voice. Welcome to the Lion Voice Network and welcome to Lion Law, where we delve into the creative industry and legal issues that impact the creative industry. For my longtime Lion Pride on Patreon members, you'll notice I changed my opening from entertainment attorney to creative industry attorney. And this is in line with the shift as we get ready to release our creative ecosystem toolkit, which we're going to talk about in today's episode. We're switching because entertainment, people oftentimes think about just music. Creative industry is a lot broader, and that's really the population that I want to strengthen and assist being a creative on multiple fronts myself. So, creative industry attorney. So this episode, we're going to talk about the creative ecosystem and one of the key aspects. Big up the Lion Pride. How do you become part of the Lion Pride? If you subscribe, you are part of the Lion Pride. Today's episode, we talk about one of the most vital parts of any ecosystem, and an ecosystem in general has three critical parts. There are other parts that people name, but every ecosystem model has to have these three aspects in some form. And we deal with the Trinity, the might of the Trinity, so we like three. So those three parts are production, producing matter, things that are going to be consumed. The second part is consumption, which organisms consume and use that as fuel to live and do the work that they do within the ecosystem. And then number three is reduction, which is the elimination of waste. All organisms eliminate waste, all ecosystems eliminate waste in some way to be functioning and sustainable, and recycle those nutrients forward into the production stage of the ecosystem. So the analogy in a regular ecosystem would be an ecosystem producing soil, which produces a blade of grass, which is consumed by a deer. That deer is then consumed by a mountain lion. That mountain lion then defecates, which fertilizes that soil, which then produces more grass, which then the cycle continues through the system. So everything is cycled, and that mountain lion or that lion on the savannah is typically preying on the old, the sick. So it's keeping the herds healthy. It's ensuring that the herds don't overpopulate and decimate the vegetation. So everything in the ecosystem has a purpose. The fungus is growing on the decaying matter. You have organisms that just break down things within the ecosystem, vultures, the scavengers that break down things within the ecosystem and then recycle them into nutrients, healthy soil, things like worms, even maggots and things like that, that they would be considered part of the reduction cycle. And that's right, family. We're talking about the reduction part of the ecosystem, the part that sometimes is uncomfortable because you don't want to share when you go to the bathroom. You don't invite someone to the toilet with you, but if you don't go to the toilet, you're in problems, right? Because you have to always be eliminating waste within any system. And reduction also means just reducing time, so that waste could be in time, doing things more efficiently, more quickly. So we're going to look at a couple of legal considerations and just overall the concept of reduction. Again, we're getting ready to launch the Creative Industry Toolkit. Get ready. This is going to be the beginning of a new era for this channel and for Rastafari creatives and just creatives in general. This is part of I&I Life Mission. So I'm very happy. I've been working very diligently. Again, I'm my own test case because I have all of these things going on. So organizing it in an ecosystem framework, in a sustainable framework, something that I can visualize as a man that loves nature, is very helpful. And I think it's going to be very helpful to everyone here. Before we jump into reduction, I want to encourage everyone to go to the Patreon. We have 3 fire angels in the Patreon. That's how you support the channel, support the content. We lost a couple of patrons. We were up to 5. We've gone down to 3. This is the struggle of the creative industry. People are struggling out there, inflation. So I overstand. I don't question if anybody has to pause their contributions. Patreon is rough out there, trust me, family. However, if you have it, you spend $10 at Starbucks, you can put $10 into the channel a month, $5 a month, $25 a month, whatever you can afford to help us to continue to bring the content, to escalate the content, the production standards, the quality. We do give thanks here at the Lion Voice Network. Again, we're striving to build the largest Rastafari-owned multimedia platform on the second largest search engine on the internet, and we will transfer it as soon as the Rastafari family build our own platform comparable to YouTube. All of this will transfer over there. We have some things planned So we'll share those in the coming months, years, decades, all of them, something there. But we're gonna build a production studio on the continent of Africa, and I have made that decision to seek that investment, not from investors, but I'm gonna continue to work to earn the trust and the support of the people out there across the world. So supporting the Patreon, if you can, and help the Lion Voice Network to grow. That being said, let's jump into the topic, reduction. What is reduction? Reduction, again, as I said, is part of the trinity aspects of the ecosystem, and the key point of reduction is to eliminate and recycle waste. So for a creative, what does that look like? There are two things that we cite when we're talking about reduction. One of them is continuing education, meaning that you continue to put in your 10,000 hours to gain mastery, because the more you do something, the less waste that you'll have, the more efficient you'll become, the more lessons that you'll learn. So there has to be a certain amount of time as a creative that you livicate to continuing your education. No matter how great you think you are, there are new innovations in your field that are coming up by others that are doing it, or you yourself in doing your field are going to be discovering innovations. That's how the Most High work. So being intentional about allotting time for your continuing education is crucial. So, from a legal perspective, you may be entering into contracts with courses, with things. You just want to make sure that when you're entering to contracts where you're doing continuing education with third parties, have an understanding of what the intellectual property is. If you're creating intellectual property, submitting papers, doing things, submitting works, be clear in terms of the ownership of these things as you grow your brand and as you grow your knowledge base. In order to reduce and eliminate waste, be sure that you are aware of that. Another thing that you will want to do as you are putting in your 10,000 hours is looking at professional liability insurance. A lot of us, for attorneys, it's mandatory. We have to carry malpractice insurance in the jurisdiction that we work. But I recommend it for all creatives. Once you start operating, you start taking in clients and revenue. Growth comes with litigation. Unfortunately, all major successful businesses have that, so you want to make sure that you look into that. If you're keeping events, liability insurance for the premises. But insurance, and just being aware of the different types of insurance policies in your particular field. There are companies that insure almost every type of business now in this modern gig economy. So it's something to definitely look into and invest in terms of protecting yourself as you are investing in your reduction. And again, part of the reduction is actually the practice of what you're doing and building that 10,000 hours, because that helps you to reduce. As a reading RAS, you're purchasing books. Reading is also very crucial to the reduction phase on your own. That's aside from any courses that you're doing. But again, all of these things are part of the reduction part of the creative ecosystem. That is going to happen is as you grow, and this is not for the beginners, but you're going to be building your team, and you can go forward, especially for artists. I have a whole series on building your team from your entourage come up. So just go forward into the Lion Law catalog or the Lion Log, and you will see episodes where we address those topics. However, there comes a time when you may have to terminate the services of some of those team members because they're not living up to the efficiency. So this is also where legal considerations come in. Are you in an at-will state? What was the agreement or the termination clause in the agreement that you had? And I am a big advocate for having agreements with everybody on your team so that everybody's clear as to their role, even if it's just an email communication. But everybody who you work with should be clear on their role And if the need arises for you to terminate or eliminate that particular role, or to terminate that particular person who is playing that role, you want to make sure that you are legally covered. So these are things, again, you want to sit down with your entertainment attorney, creative industry attorney, and ensure that you are doing what needs to be done on that front. The other parts of the reduction is a legal audit, where, periodically, maybe once or twice a year, you sit down with your creative industry attorney, look over all of your agreements, communicate, because your business evolves. You add aspects to the business. Do you have agreements and contracts that cover these new aspects of the business? Do a legal audit, ensure that you have everything in place. Book a consultation. We do consultations here. Big up all of the Lion Pride members who have booked consultations, whether legal or creative. You can visit the website and you can book a consultation, and we go through all of your different aspects. So very crucial to do an audit, both the legal audit and then the creative audit. I also offer creative consultations. And why? Because it's good to have a third party to look at everything you're doing and just evaluate all of the different aspects, because a lot of times we as creatives are very emotional about what we're doing, and we may not be spending our time in the most efficient, because we are small businesses. As a small business, you might be spending all of your time in the production part of the ecosystem and not enough time on the consumption part of the ecosystem, where you're setting up the points of contact with your audience, where you're ensuring that people are actually purchasing, that you are marketing, and actually generating leads and generating sales. That's all part of the consumption part of the ecosystem. But you may be just in your production part, creative and starving artists forever, and you keep creating new things and never give time to actually market your existing work. So having a creative audit where you have a dispassionate third party that can look over what you're doing, listen to what you're doing, and give you solid advice is invaluable. That sounding board, creative sounding board, we offer that service here at the Lion Voice Network, Dejazmatchkwasi.com. You can visit the website, and we do those creative audits. But that's part of the reduction. Again, looking at your ecosystem from a macro point of view and just seeing where you can eliminate waste. So these are just a few points. There are other things that we're going to talk about. Again, we're getting ready to launch a creative toolkit where you'll be able to go through, answer questions, and map out your ecosystem in black and white so you can see it, and have the tools. Our goal is to get you to where you can clearly see the ecosystem so you can create a coherent and very focused business plan, because every man needs a business plan. Every creative needs a business plan. We're very big on that here on this channel. Why is reduction so crucial? I may ask. I say because the time has come for the Lions to own their own story, and this is the Lion's Voice.
Lion Voice. Well, I am the generation of those that chose to see the face of the great I am. With the Emperor Haile Selassie, King Rastafari of Ethiopia, well, he's the almighty creator, in flesh and in bone, and he seated upon King David's throne. Well, I came to tell the nation on the microphone.
Yo, let them know righteousness is here to conquer. The Binga King trample down those evilest monsters. Mussolini, he's getting burnt up like ganja. Our nation needs to get stronger. Give thanks, our locks is getting longer. The angel revealed the scriptures, the number 6 verse 5. My antenna channeling the heights of the Most High. Crown king of king, lords of lords. Now you do the math, Rastafari comfort. I and I with the staff, children of Israel. Make sure you step on the right path. It's the 21st century, the wicked about to feel the wrath of the ancient of days. Emperor Haile Selassie, pure in all his ways. That's why I Kwasi and I praise the Naya Bingy King. Let the children know the salvation Naya Bingy bring. Yo, it's conscious hip hop music, strictly for the king. For those who don't know, it's a Naya Bingy thing, hailing the Aya Aya.
Bingy King, Aya, Bingy King, Aya, Bingy King, witness of the lightning. Aya, Bingy King, Aya, Bingy King, Aya, Bingy King, witness of the lightning. Fire, Bingy King, fire, Bingy King, fire, Bingy King, earthquake lightning. Naya, Bingy King, Naya, Bingy King, Naya, Bingy King, witness of the lightning.
Tell him about Selassie.